So tonight, I'm going to introduce you to Tommy.
Do you guys remember this little fella? It's a mechanical magnetic drawing board that uses knobs to create lithographic images called the Etch-a-Sketch. Amazing, dope toy, but there's a catch. There's a catch. The quality of the image highly depends on the consumer's ability to draw it. And as a kid, I wanted my damn money back. You see, as much as I played with this toy as a kid, I didn't. Before I dove into the pressureless enjoyment of the toy itself, I was provoked by the overlooked power that this toy actually carried. So instead of playing, it's like I was understanding. I was understanding that this toy was in fact a piece of art. Picasso once said that art is not truth, art is a lie that makes us realize the truth. And within the lie of this carefree-looking toy, I realized that no matter how bad I sucked at drawing on this, I could always just shake it clear and try again to redeem myself. To an artist, I was never good enough to be considered one. And to a productive member of society, there are many times in my past where I struggled to make my contribution. I'm going to tell you all how I stopped allowing life to draw up the image of myself that I wasn't satisfied with, and how I took control of the knobs of my potential. I was born on the east side of San Jose with an identical twin brother. I was born on the east side of San Jose with an identical twin brother named Robert. You know, we were born in a notably gang-infested neighborhood, and my mom always told us it's like tag. You two just be yourself, watch over each other, you'll never be it. You see, where I'm from, there's more houses than homes. A home's a place you look forward to being because you and your family created this intimate connection there, and we had that. I was raised by a powerful single mother and grandparents who didn't enable us or disable us, but they provided us with enough room to grow without confining our instinctive personalities. You know, they taught us not to idolize anybody, and they made it clear that we become our own man, despite how similar me and my twin brother were. In our early years, we embraced our twinship, full throttle, you know, matching clothes, bunk beds, swapping names for the day, and even taking one for the team when we were really innocent. I was in debt. You see, our oneness allowed us to share the same Etch-a-Sketch board as we created a vision, and our potential thrived off one another. You see, as we got older, our passion for sports and academics only increased, creating an imbalance in our social life. As we sacrificed early years of high school partying and just hanging out for more time training and studying, sometimes too extreme. We chased after our dreams as if we were running out of time. And by the time senior year came, everything made a dramatic turn for the worse. Society's false perception that twins were indistinguishable in all aspects really started getting to my brother's head, and he let that parallel view that we felt from others create this internal drive that made him want to fight for his individuality, ultimately pushing me and him away from each other. So we became strangers for once. It's as if I got home, It's as if I got home and I seen him drawing on his Etch-a-Sketch board, and as I went to go collaborate, I tripped over another board, realizing that this was indeed our original board, and he had to get a whole new one because he knew his values and his morals and his goals didn't align with mine anymore. And as he became more susceptible to peer pressure, he started experimenting with things like drugs, alcohol, which led to him being misused and misled into doing things that went against his nature, like committing robberies. And it all happened so fast, I'll never forget the day when, I was woken up to hearing my name being called out of a megaphone. It said, Gutierrez, Gutierrez. As I walked over half asleep to look and see what was going on, I was surprised to see a block full of SWAT and sheriffs. By the time I turned around, the SWAT team broke in my door. They pointed their guns on me and demanded me to get down or they'll shoot me. I got down and I was shackled and hemmed up for the first time in my life. And all I could think about was where my twin brother was. As they were taking me down to the cop car, they got a call back on the other radio saying that the other raid got the correct twin and I was the innocent one, so they let me go. You know, if I was aged by pain, then that was the day I was born. I shook and shook the etch sketch board as hard as I could, but for once I was faced with an image that refused to be erased, the image of his circumstances. So I tossed the board in the river of doubt, but little did I know some images just take a little longer than others to be erased. His first deal was 45 years, and I took it like he died. You know, as he was stripped away from the society that brought him down, he was able to see clearly now and think rational of how and why he lost control. He reached out to me begging for my forgiveness, you know, begging that I could, you know, hoping that I could just live for the both of us. You know, saying things like, you're the left leg, I'm the right leg, chase after our goals and dreams. Please, Tommy, you got to do it now. And I couldn't grasp that urgency, that motivation. I was overwhelmed with grief, which led to me being emotionally hijacked. And with my inability to cope and identify and manage all of my emotions, I turned to drugs too, to numb the pain. You know, my ability to really overcome peer pressure and that has worked for me my whole life was now being distorted. And I knew my behaviors and my behaviors were just contradicting my, you know, attitudes and beliefs. But to avoid the discomfort of cognitive dissonance when you're doing something opposed to what you really want, I just kept submerging myself deeper and deeper into this hazardous lifestyle. I pushed everyone away. Instead of being myself in society as I've always been, I became society out of myself. I became a follower. And I became worse than my brother ever was. You know, all in a matter of a year, I caught an accumulation of cases, in and out of jail, bailing out, just digging a deeper hole. And I applied my competitive nature that I used in sports and school to the streets by trying to be the best. I was only becoming the worst. It's like my certificates, my awards, everything just, it's like they became, what's the word? It's like they became like a credibility, street credibility that I manipulated myself into valuing. And even as fearless as I thought I was scared to die victim to the street wars I was engaging in. The cops weren't the only people I was worried about, and when you're living by the gun, I was just scared to die by it. I remember one day in particular when the cops, you know, had me cornered in and I was running. I was already on the run. And there was a patrol unit on every corner, and as they were coming in closer, I just kept running. And as they pulled their firearms on me, I remember it was in those moments of desperation when what came to my mind the most was my goals and dreams. You know, as backwards as that sounds, it was in those, it's like I kept running to keep my dream alive. You know, and I got away that night, but I didn't get away from the thought of knowing that by continuing to be on the run, I was only pushing my dreams away from ever, you know, coming to life. So I turned myself in. When I was locked up, I was able to, you know, see clearly and think rational as well. And I couldn't believe that I stooped so low in my lifetime. And just knowing my twin brother was, you know, next door to the jail facility I was in, just over those walls, literally just 100 yards away. Just knowing he was there was comforting. We were together again. And as I was going to court for my first deal, people were saying things like, oh, you're going to get a slap on the wrist. It's your first offense, your first deal. You've never been in trouble. And I was hoping so because, honestly, my mind was still in the streets. That's how much it had me. I thought I could get out and do it functional again, you know, go to school, work, but still, you know, partake in that fast life. But when the judge told me my first deal was 10 years, 8 months, that's when I knew it was either one or the other. You know, I knew I had to get free somehow. But you see, at the time, I was just thinking about freedom. It was a selfish, you know, extrinsic motivation. I was extrinsically motivated to avoid the punishment of jail and gain the reward of freedom. It wasn't genuine yet. And I remember being in my cell alone, just, you know, it was a week later from getting that deal, and I just remember just being so depressed. I was singing this song from my childhood that me and my twin brother always loved. It's by Nickelback. It's called This Is How You Remind Me. It goes like, this is how you remind me of what I really am. And I was singing that song the whole day just to get my mind off of things. And I remember the CO popped me out by myself later that night. And as I went to go shower and watch TV, I couldn't help but notice the janitor was in the radio room mopping, but he was dancing but he was dancing, yeah. And out of curiosity, I went to go see what he was playing, and as I opened the door, that same song came blasting out of the stereo. This is how you remind me of what. I shut the door, and it's like those lyrics shot through the part of me that thought I was changed already. I went right to my cell, and I remember just busting down in tears, crying. You know, I took it like whatever it was my higher power, whether it was a coincidence that this all needed to happen so I could be reminded of who I really was. And it's like I smiled through those tears because I can see that regardless of the circumstances right now, and I was locked up, I seen freedom forever when I got out. I knew I was going to make that decision of living with integrity forever. And it was at that time when, the Etch-a-Sketch returned from the River of Doubt, and my brother's circumstances that had ruined me were finally erased. And I took grasp of the knobs of my potential, not just to draw up freedom, but to draw up the best of me for the rest of my life. I was back again. I felt restored. And thanks to my, amazing lawyer, Stephen Nakano, and my support system, we try to make the best out of me. We didn't look at it like dead time. We looked at it as valuable time that I could use. We exhausted everything we could as far as fighting my case goes, and there was nothing else we could do but showcase who I really was. Nothing else we could do besides self-improvement. So I worked with my therapist, Ken Deaver, on my emotional intelligence. I helped out tutor incarcerated students in the GED facility. I just wanted to be productive as possible. I helped do motivational speeches for this restoration program, trying to give people the hope that I've seen, that they couldn't see. Like, you're facing 10 years, 8 months. Like, this guy's crazy. Since we didn't want to take the 10-year 8-month deal, my deal got bumped up to 18 years, and it got bumped up to 18 years, and we were going to have something called a formal sentence. My lawyer told me that I was going to be able to take the stand. I was going to be able to talk on my behalf. And I look forward to that. When the day finally came, the DA and my lawyer asked me a series of questions that I answered genuinely as I could. But I remember I was really looking forward to talking to the judge one-on-one. And when we finally talked one-on-one in front of the whole courtroom, it's like I wasn't even there no more. It felt like we were walking at a park talking or something. I knew she was really listening to me. Inside of me was screaming, if you could just please see through me, please realize that I'm not trying to deceive you in any way. Can you please just feel me? And if she asked me what I was going to do if I was given a second chance, I looked at her and I told her, to me, life's more than just, hanging out. Life's more than just relaxing. Life's more than just going to school or just working. It's more than doing the minimum. To me, life's about ascending to your maximum potential and really being all you can be to contribute to others so they can be all they can be as well. I told her I'd rather die than not contribute in my lifetime. I found it amazing how she was able to simultaneously make a judgment for the court's ruling and free herself from judgment at the same time as she talked to me. Because if she would have judged me off everything I've been through, off all my charges, then I wouldn't even be in that position to talk for myself. It's like an Etch-a-Sketch board. If you draw something up and shake it clear, sometimes the old image doesn't get fully erased. She was still able to see my old mistakes, the image of my past, but she trusted that I would use my potential wisely if she gave me another chance. The ruling that day was a 90-day observation. I said, 90-day off? Like, what's that? Like, my lawyer advised me that it was when I go to prison for 90 days. that the judge is possibly considering giving you a second chance, but she needs another recommendation, like a second opinion. So I went to San Quentin for 90 days to get evaluated by a psychologist and a warden to get their recommendation. When I went, I just wanted to do my time. I remember talking to the psychologist, and she was very compassionate, and she had open ears and listened to me, and it went great. She said she was going to recommend probation. But when I met up with the warden, right before the interview even started, he told me straight up that no matter how good this goes, we're going to recommend prison. It's just what we do. Your final recommendation is going to be prison regardless. So when I returned back to county, I was discouraged. And I got a packet in the mail from San Quentin, and it said, recommendation, prison. What do you know? I still had hope, and thank God I had a resilient lawyer who filed the motion, because everything that they were saying in that packet, everything they're saying in the evaluation is the psychologist, the warden, kind of favored me being a good candidate in society. So he filed a motion saying that they were contradicting what they were saying. The night before my final court date, I remember staring out my cell, looking at downtown city, just staring in my city, just looking out, and I could just feel the freedom. There was still hope because of that motion my lawyer filed. The next day on my court date, I remember sitting down, and all my family were behind me, all my family and friends, and they were all crying, hopeless. I remember sitting down as my lawyer, the judge, the DA went to the back to have a discussion for the final decision. I was just praying I didn't get the 18 years. I was sitting down, picturing my brother facing the 15 years he ended up getting sentenced to. I was picturing myself facing something similar, and we could possibly run into each other behind the walls and be reunited. Then I shut the door on that thought, and I pictured myself getting out again. I pictured myself creating opportunities. I pictured myself finishing what me and my twin brother started, so he could have a good position to succeed when he got out. The DA came storming out the room. My lawyer followed him. My lawyer had a grin on his face, being down 3 years, almost 3 years, facing 18 years. My lawyer said the most powerful words I'll ever hear in my life. He said, she's going to give you a second chance. Stephen, the chills I got from those words have never left my body. See, here I am now, you guys, free, living proof that a miracle has a better chance of happening if you believe. I'm going to San Jose City College, majoring in kinesiology, minoring in communication, a couple steps from either transferring to Cal Berkeley or San Jose State. I'm just finishing what me and my twin brother started. I'm an undefeated competitive amateur boxer, a couple steps from going pro. I'm just finishing what me and my twin brother started as a kid boxing. I have a chance to be a part of this thing called the GRIT program, where we'll go to various prisons around Northern California and teach them emotional intelligence. So I might have a chance to be teaching my brother that soon. He still has 6 years left. I'm glad I didn't get that refund from Santa. No, really. If you guys can take something home, I hope you guys can see that I was more imprisoned by my actual mindset than the jail or penitentiary. And if you guys ever face any circumstances that seem immovable, that lock you up, remember you can always shake them free. I know this speech is called Let Your Life Speak, but it's clear that we have all gained the strength from our experiences to start speaking for our life. We have all been through similar circumstances in our past, similar adversities that had a negative impact on us and derailed us from the path that we were on originally. But they also created this internal strength for us to be somewhat indestructible. So when the inevitable pain of tomorrow comes, I know we'll all embrace it. Sometimes you have to lose to win forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy. Has anyone ever wished that they had a second chance to undo a mistake? Raise your hand. See, everybody has. Me too. We all make mistakes in the course of our journey, but that's okay. That makes us human.